Hello everybody, this is Frank Bobbin here and welcome to a NASCAR race review thingy flip. Yes, so today was the day of the Daytona 500. Well, it kind of was, and well, today is technically Monday. Kind of, but that's interesting to say the least. So today was the 60th running of the Daytona 500, and it seems that there were several people that are on the fence about this race. You know, some people thought that this race was good, other people thought that this race was terrible. So I'm actually going to be making a part two of to this video talking about fans and stuff and how some people could be weird in the NASCAR community about about this race. But for this video, I'm going to be giving out my own personal preference on this race. So I won't be basing this off of any opinions or popular opinion or whatever like that. You know, I don't want to, I don't want to be too much on popular opinion. I want to be a person who is their own person and likes to make their own decisions. So, nice cold water. So yeah, so for this video is going to be my own personal preference on this race and the Xfinity race that happened on the day before. But again, there will be a follow-up video to this talking about uh, stuff, I guess. But yeah. So yeah, I had been waiting for this race the entire winter, like ever since the season ended last year. I've been just waiting all winter, just, lying on my bed, waiting for the day that the Daytona 500 would happen, and it did today. And like, you couldn't, it's not a better way to start the season, like, the Xfinity race and the Cup races, the Cup race, the Daytona 500, they were both great races. I think I'll start with the Xfinity series because, the Xfinity series, I wasn't really expecting too much of the Xfinity series race, but man, oh man, was the Xfinity series race a good one. The Xfinity race ended about everything that you could ever ask for in a NASCAR race. It had passing for the lead, it had strategy everywhere, it had spinouts and crashes, it had just anything you could ever ask for in a race. From start to finish, the Xfinity series race was just great all around. Well, not really the whole thing was great. There was a few dull moments in the Xfinity Series race, but that's just because I didn't watch the whole entire Xfinity Series race because, to be honest, I thought like some of it was a bit boring. But I watched everything in the Xfinity race that was important. So, yeah. So overall, the Xfinity Series race, man, oh man, was it just great? Again, it just had everything that you could ever ask for, and it had again many spins on a nail biting end. Photo finish was great. In the Xfinity Series race. Tyler Reddick, the new driver, number 9 at Junior Motorsports, he definitely has a bright future in NASCAR. Well, I mean, I say that. I'm really not too sure how good or badly that Tyler Reddick will do in his NASCAR career as a whole, but for his first ever race in the number 9 at Junior Motorsports, he definitely proved that he was a good driver, and I do have hopes for Tyler Reddick going into the future at the number 9 at Hendrick Motorsports in the future. I'm not sure where Tyler Reddick is going to wind up in the Cup Series when he eventually gets up to that point, but I guess we'll see what the future has to bring for Tyler Reddick. Because now that the Hendrick Motorsports team is now all filled up with new drivers, and Jimmy Johnson, he still has a few years on his contract, and Jimmy Johnson still has some life left in him. So the Hendrick Motorsports team of drivers is pretty much set for at least until Jimmy Johnson retires or something like that. Because the other 3 drivers there at Hendrick Motorsports, they're gonna get there. They're gonna be there for decades to come. Alex Bowman, William Byron, and Chase Elliott. So I guess we'll see what happens at Hendrick Motorsports going into the future. Yes, indeed. And Elliott Sadler, he did his very best to try to win this Xfinity race. Couldn't quite make it, but he did his very best, and that's all that really matters. So overall, Xfinity race was a great way to start the Xfinity Series race season, and the same can be said about the Cup Series race. Like you couldn't, as as the announcers would say, you couldn't write a better script for a NASCAR race, and the Daytona 500 was just, it was really just the best script that you could ever write. Um, the stage 1 and 2 in the Cup and the Daytona 500 were, again, pretty much everything that you could ever ask for. There was, pit stop problems. There were crashes and stuff. There were, but just races for the lead. Just about everything, really. There's really almost no faults with the Daytona 500, or at least in stage 1 and 2. I'll get to stage 3. But stage 1 and 2, I remember my daddy, he was pretty upset in a way when Chase Elliott was spun by Brad. Well, I'm still not entirely sure if Chase Elliott might have spun himself out or if it was Brad Keselowski. I don't know. Maybe it probably was Brad. I'm not 100% sure. I'm still on the fence about it, but Brad Keselowski, he's been in the sport for about a decade now and still making a few rookie mistakes, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what Brad does going into the future as a driver. But after Chase Elliott wrecked, I think that was about the end of stage 2. But yeah, again, crash-filled race. There was a few crashes that involved some good cars, and when I saw those crashes that involved the good cars, I was kind of deflated. Like I saw the crash involving Daniel Suarez and Eric Jones and Jimmy Johnson. That crash, I was kind of deflated after that. Because I really want to see Daniel Suarez and Eric Jones do something at the end of this race, but unfortunately that couldn't quite happen. But oh well, it's Daytona 500. It's a restricted play track, and what can you really do? I remember one of the announcers of the Daytona 500. He said this is the Survival 500, and it really is a survival. Like the Daytona, when we race at restricted play tracks, it's obviously about who can win the race, but it's even more about if you can survive the race in the first place. Winning the race is one thing, but actually finishing the race is an entirely different thing, because you're always on your feet trying to survive crash after crash after crash and so on and so forth. And it's really a big part about restricted play racing. Just being on the edge of disaster the whole time. So that pretty much sums up stage 1 and 2. But stage 3, however, was boring to say the least. Unfortunately, about 10 laps into stage 3, that's when we really settled in, and everyone just freight trains for several laps, and Ryan Blaney, he was leading the race, and everyone just freight training for laps and laps on end. And yeah, to be on stage 3 was a bit meh, to say the least. All the good guys were wrecked out, and there were several guys just freight training lap after lap after lap, and the freight training pretty much went on up until William Byron spun. I think William Byron cut a tire, and it caused him to spin out, and that's what brought out the caution. But then there was the last 10 laps of Daytona, and that is when things just went from really dull to really, really just on the edge. Just on the edge. Kurt Busch, I was really hoping that Denny Hamlin and Kurt Busch wouldn't really win this race, just because I really want a driver that I really wanted a first-time winner in the Daytona 500. And Kurt Busch, he was just, he was beginning to pull away, but then here come Ryan Blaney, and then Kurt Busch would come back in. Here come Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin came back in. It was just an action-packed race for the last 10 laps, and then Kurt Busch spun out, and then several cars got involved. And then it was near the end of the race where Eric Almirola was in first place, and I was really hoping for I was really hoping for Ryan Blaney to try to win this race, because he had done so. Then he got involved in stuff like that, and then he was sent to the back of the field. Then here came Eric Almirola in first place, about to win his first ever Daytona 500, and about to win his first ever race with Stewart-Haas Racing. And it would have been pretty exciting for Eric Almirola to start off the year, with a victory. Now that he's at Stewart-Haas Racing, but unfortunately, it didn't quite happen. Half left to go. Here came Austin Dillon, came to the behind of Eric Almirola, and then Eric Almirola was spun, unfortunately, but I guess that's something. But Austin Dillon, he came through, and 20 years after Dale Earnhardt Sr. won the Daytona 500 in the number 3, Austin Dillon, 20 years later, does the same thing, and it really is such a fitting way it's such a fitting ending for the 60th Daytona 500 for Austin Dillon to win the race, because especially number 3, it's just such something just so great to see. You know, I said to myself it was just so amazing to see Austin Dillon winning the Daytona 500, and it really is. It's just I don't know. There's not. I can't even come up with words to describe how great this is, but you know, overall, you know, I had been all winter long. I've been waiting for the season to begin, and man, oh man, you know, this is just the best way to open up a season. Like, you know, I remember after the 2017 Daytona 500, I was, you know, slightly let down by the way that Kurt Busch won the Daytona 500, but this year it definitely makes up for it. And Bubba Wallace, best part is that he came second in the race by just 1/1,000,000th of an inch. You know, and Bubba Wallace, he's also proven in this race that he has a bright future at Richard Petty Motorsports. I definitely am super excited to see what Bubba Wallace can do this season, and as he is now at the driving the 43 and stuff. You know, of course, there's music in the background. Of course, that's to be, but yeah, just overall, you know, 2018 Daytona 500, best Daytona 500 that I have ever watched. Well, actually, I don't know. I'm slightly on the fence about that because the 2016 Daytona 500 was pretty good, but to be honest, I really don't remember too much from that race. But I don't know. 2018 Daytona 500, just an overall amazing race, at least in my opinion. You know, there are some people, however, that think that the Daytona 500 might be a bit rubbish, but that's gonna be its own separate video where I talk about, you know, how fans say that the Daytona 500 was, to say that the Daytona 500 was either good or bad, because, you know, like, you know, while I thought that the Daytona 500 was great this year, it seems to be one of the most controversial races in motorsports history, as some would say, because, you know, there are some people that kind of agree with me how the race was good, but at the same time, there are some people that say that this race was just rubbish, and there are the people that are in between. So, I'm gonna do some research on the internet and see what people really think of the Daytona 500. Maybe do a whole video about it, because it really is an interesting topic to bring to the spotlight in a way. But that's my opinion on the Daytona 500. Yeah, obviously in the part 2 I'll bring up other people's opinions. I think you know that by now, but yeah. So there you go. That's my opinion on the 2018 Daytona 500 and the Xfinity Series race that happened before that. I'm talking so quickly that I can't even speak. If you guys can't even understand what I'm saying, then I'll try to translate it for you if you need me to in the comment section down below. But guys, that's all for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. You know, this video has kind of been a bit of a rambling session, so if this video was a bit longer than it needed to be, then apologies. But that's all for this video. Hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Oh, and don't forget to join the Discord server, by the way, in the description. Yes, indeed. And also follow me on Twitter for the stuff on there as well. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.